Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. And I just want to thank you for joining us with the Leadership Now series. And I am so excited as we have a treat today with Sophia Rose Alexander. Before we get into Sophia, just a couple of housekeeping items. If you are watching on Facebook Live, we can't see any of your comments. We can go in and watch them afterwards or make comments afterwards. If you are here on the Zoom Live, we like to make this interactive, so you can chat it up in the chat bar, and then if you have a question for Sophia, put that in the Q&A, and then we will bring your question in. Next week, we're taking a break because I will be at Bold. We finally get to have our Bold Advanced Leadership class. This is the first time since March. Yay. And then the following week, October 13th, we will have Rusty Cochran, who is the owner of We Care Plumbing, Heating, and Air, and he's going to be talking about the power of a culture and what it takes to really create a dynamic culture. Because a lot of times when you look at a culture and you have the right culture within a company, it trumps the bottom line. And the bottom line happens as a result of your people. So you want to join us for that. So as we jump into Sophia, I can just say, Sophia, wow, I was thinking way back when we met, and we met 2010, 2011 or something like that. Yeah. We had started Driven in 2009, and it was, I think 2010, we had hired a gal named Kim Slivkoff, and she had joined the Irvine Chamber. Right. I was not a networker at all. In fact, I had a bad rap with networking because people, when they networked, it was like they just wanted to push their thing. Like they wanted you to buy their product. And Kim got us to go to the Irvine Chamber, and I met you. And I think it was like 2011. Yeah. And I'll never forget that we were the ones within the leads group where we had to connect, and we had coffee at Starbucks. Wow. And with you, and your topic is the power of a mentor. But when I look at you, what I've known about you from the very beginning is you were a connector. Mm-hmm. It was never about what can I gain. It was truly about how can I serve? What can I do? How can I help? And you truly came from that place. Mm-hmm. You were just starting your life over. I think you were like 50? Just turned like 50, late 40, 50?
I guess so, yeah. No, it was more like 55, honestly. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So first I want to thank you for having me on. I'm super excited. This is the first time I've done anything like this. So I'm super excited. And yeah, I moved here in 2011 from Dallas to be with my brand new first granddaughter. Yeah, and I jumped into the Irvine Chamber because I knew that was the easiest way for me to connect and get to know people. And I mean, it just really all goes back to you have to give to receive. And I knew early on that joining the chamber would not only give me people that I knew, but people I could connect with, and also people that I could sell to. So I was in the office furniture and interior design business, and all together from Dallas and Orange County, 35 years, and I retired in 2018. Oh. But I just retired from volunteering at the chamber. So when I joined the chamber, I joined the leads group, and that was the best way to just make people aware of my company, which was actually in LA and not known in OC.
Kenneth Strong, right? It was 2010 office
furniture. Yes. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And so I did really well, but I really think it was because I connected people. I raised up leaders out of the leads groups. I in 2012 became the leads group coordinator for the chamber. So I started building up more and more groups, and we went from 2 groups to 6 groups is what they have now. And I had to have leaders in those groups to lead the meetings. And so I got the honor of raising up leaders, mentoring them. Well, first we'd go through training, and then I would mentor them throughout the year. And because of my service, I just got awarded a lifetime membership. Yes, thank you very much, Irvine Chamber. So, first ever award they've ever given out. So I felt very, very honored. And yeah, so it's a great way to connect.
Yeah, well, and I just saw Chris Butcher's on here, and he's like, ladies, I missed you both. We were just talking about you, Chris. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about just the connection. So going back into a transition in life, and we all transition from time to time. And it's, a lot of times people get stuck. So I was one of those. We moved to California, brand new. We started our company, and then it's just like, then what? Like, how do we do this? And there was this fear. But it really becomes when we connect with people who are like-minded, and it goes back into how do I give and serve, it's a ripple effect. And you transitioned, you left Dallas, you were in a brand new area and you were hungry, but I also remember it was just like this humbleness. And I remember having the conversation at Starbucks, and it became so much different about just what you did or what I did. It became this deep conversation about life and influence and what's the next steps and the deeper meaning of life. And that's who you are.
Oh, thanks.
As a connector, but you're real. And I think about Sophia Rose, and I still think of you as Sophia Rose, is that you love God, you love family, you love the Cowboys, you love tequila, you love sushi, which Chris and I and you went to sushi. Yeah. And you love life, you love people. And I remember some of the conversations, you're like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Like, what do I do?
I know. So I was at a place where I had just left a really bad marriage in Dallas. I left all my friends in Dallas. I'd been there for 30 years. I grew up close by Dallas. And I left all my connections, my business, my book of business. I left everything to be with my granddaughter and just start a new life. And I figured if my daughter could live out here in Orange County, then I could live out here. So I just made it happen. Now, I did go through dark days and deep valleys, like, oh, did I do the right thing? Oh my gosh, can I go back? Whatever. But you just have to really know what you want and what God is calling you to do, and just stretch and get out of that comfort zone. And I must say that going through your classes, which I went through 2 different classes and then facilitated 1 class with you, helped me to know that I can stretch. It's really hard to do, but I was able to do it, and I was a better person for it. So I'll never forget the night that Eric got in my face and made me crack that board in half. Yeah, because he had to get in my face as my drill sergeant. I was telling Larry, my husband, about that just the other day. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and so going all the way back and looking at the power of a mentor, because I remember having this conversation, you're like, I didn't look at myself as a mentor. You are a connector. So when you think about a mentor, what does being a mentor mean to you?
So to me, a mentor is somebody that's going to walk alongside of you, somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, and their advice to you is going to come from their experience. Okay, so it's different than being a leader. In my mind, it's different than being a leader, because a leader has usually got a specific goal in mind. Like when I was leading at the chamber, it was to connect people and helping leads groups grow and improve. But as a mentor, I feel like I've helped people grow themselves and raise their self-confidence. Now, a leader can also do that. I mean, if you become a leader, that automatically happens. But just for example, I started mentoring this gal who's 33, and she is a low-income single parent with a 10-year-old boy. And I've been mentoring her for about 18 months. And really at about 9 months, she became like my daughter. And I seriously could adopt her, would like to adopt her if I could. But I've seen her grow from just a little thing that would just kind of sit there and not talk a lot and not engage and just be, totally different than what she could be. but I knew something told me the first night I met her that I needed to mentor her. And of course, I know that was God. And so I reached out and said, hey, could I be your mentor? And so we just started talking like every week, at least talking, if not meeting. And it's really made a difference in her life. And mainly because she can call and ask. And I know from experience the answers. If I don't know from experience, then I connect her with somebody that does know. So, yeah.
This is the weirdest thing. So it just said that you're on here twice.
I don't know what that is. I'm not on my phone.
Oh,
Maybe.
we have a silent mentor in here.
Maybe we have a spy.
No, a silent mentor. So we have seasons in life, and within all of the seasons in life, it requires different mentors, right? Because you can have a mentor and you can walk, and I love how you said they walk alongside, they come alongside. And I love how you talked about the difference between a leader and a mentor. And you're right, they're two different roles. And sometimes we don't expect or think that we can be a mentor. But do you believe that we are all called to be a mentor for someone?
My immediate answer is yes, because especially in our older years, okay, so like I'm in my 60s, my husband's in his 60s. When I first mentioned to him that he could be a mentor, he's like, no, I'm president of a company, but I can't be a mentor, because I think he knows the difference. So I think just about anybody can be a mentor. I mean, I've even talked to people in their 30s that are mentoring teenagers. So it's definitely a calling, and it's a calling. And so you have to know when it's your time. And believe me, my time is opened up mainly because I retired from selling furniture and interior design. So now I'm volunteering, and I'm working with my church. And as I look back, it's like, well, okay, so I mentored this person. And honestly, since I'm leaving the chamber, I'm leaving as a leads group coordinator right now, still a member, but I'm just gonna step out of that role. A lot of people have told me that from the very beginning, I mentored them. And I was like, what? I didn't even know I was doing that, So I think that's when you get to know them outside of the professional realm that the mentoring begins.
Well, and when you say yes, and I look at, we all have something that we teach somebody, and it's from our experience. Whether we have children, we mentor our children. If we have grandchildren, we mentor our grandchildren. If we're owners of companies, we mentor our team leads. If we're involved in groups at church, we come alongside. We have to have people who teach us. And a lot of times, I think when people think of a mentor, they think of someone that they have, like a coach, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I also believe that there are mentors that we don't even know. It's books that we read, it's podcasts that we follow. It's
true.
It could be a pastor or a teacher, but when we come alongside and we listen, it's something that they're teaching us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're mentoring us through their, through what they've learned to do, or what just comes natural and organic to them. Yeah.
So move forward, because you did all of this work within the chamber, 8 years within the chamber. You took this program and just grew it and exploded it. And I go back into when I first met you, you're like, what am I supposed to do with my life? And you became, right? It's the mass becomes the message, and you step forward, and then you start teaching what you didn't know that you learned along the way.
Right.
And then you went into the Mariners Church, you went into Rooted, which I know you're passionate about that program, and you started teaching other leaders how to facilitate Rooted.
Right. Right. Yeah. So Rooted is a program that Mariners Church in Irvine does, 10-week program on getting to know God, your community, and your purpose. And I first went through in 2015 and actually met my now husband in that group. But it's a great group that will help you to learn a lot about God and about yourself and your community. And you may not have all the answers when you get out of Rooted, but you're going to join what we call life group. And that group that you were with for 10 weeks and became very close to and vulnerable with becomes your life group. So that's the group of people that are going to just do life together and mentor each other and help each other through the good times and the bad times. And yeah, I became very passionate about it, and I facilitated about 5 different Rooted classes, and now I help coach leaders that are leading the life groups. So
What happened?
I guess I'm all about groups.
I know. Well, but I go back into just who you are, right? And the story, there's so many different layers of mentoring, because there's one thing learning it, and then someone asks you to do something. Did your heart, was it like pounding on your chest at first going, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, at first I would be like, why are you asking me? Like, I just sell office furniture. I can tell you how to decorate your office, but I don't know anything about this. But you just kind of grow by, the help from God, and also just the people around you help kind of mold you and make you into. And then there's also the thing about, making mistakes, and that tells you what you don't want to do, so there's, especially if there's no guidelines, then it's a lot harder. But we did have guidelines that we just massaged and improved, and even now that I'm gone, I mean, it's not like they're perfect, and there's always room for improvement, and there's great people that have taken over the groups, and will lead them and have them grow even more. Yeah.
So did you ever mentor a group or an individual where you had no guidelines and you had to figure it out?
I would have to say that's Amanda, my little 33-year-old that I remember after I met her and I felt like God was calling me to mentor her. I was like, what can I offer her other than the fact that I have 2 girls just a little bit older than them, and I didn't really understand what that was going to be about or what it was going to look like, but it turned into a great thing. But you have to be vulnerable. You have to be transparent. You can't just say, well, I think you should do this, when you've never done it before. I mean, it really helps that I've had so many different experiences in my life in so many different areas. And I kind of feel like if you were to look at my life, maybe they're puzzle pieces that I didn't really understand were all going to come together. And so now, like in my last and best chapter of my life, I would say, they're coming together, and it all makes a whole lot more sense.
Well, it's definitely not your last chapter. It could be your best chapter right now, but there's still another best to come.
That's probably true. I hope so.
So now, so you get out of Rooted, well, and you probably were still in it, and you meet your husband, and then you got into being on the Council for Safe Families for Children. So how did that come out? How'd that come out?
So that came up because I joined another organization called Leadership Tomorrow. And that's right here in Orange County. And we have 4 cities that work together: Irvine, Tustin, Costa Mesa, and Newport, to take leaders of the community and give them a backstage pass on different things that happen in OC. And the goal and mission is to connect those leaders with like organizations and community projects that are going on that they didn't know about. And so sure enough, being new to Orange County, it was a fabulous program for me because I learned a lot about all 4 cities and the community and the community's needs. And one of the speakers on one of the workshops was from Olive Crest. So Olive Crest is the largest adoption and foster agency in Orange County. and they have a program that works underneath them called Safe Families. So Safe Families is all about host families that have been vetted and background checked and the whole bit, that volunteer to take in children that are in trauma, even at the last minute, so the parents or the single parent can go and get their life together. So imagine domestic violence and the mother just decides to run. You know, she can call an 800 number and get help for somebody to take care of her kids. And this pretty much prevents the kids from going into social services. So it's kind of a barrier. And we get our host families through churches. So Mariners is the largest church here in Orange County that has the most host families. And as a grandparent, I don't have the energy to be a host family, but we do have the energy to babysit and deliver meals and help support and pray for the families that are taking in the children. So I'm on the council that raises money for that organization. And we're actually having a virtual event on October 8th.
I saw that. You know, so I look at just your heart to serve, right? And I remember you're like, I'm not a mentor, but you are a mentor. And I'm just watching just you develop and just continue to grow to the point that now you're on within another nonprofit, Step Forward Academy. So not only are you a board member, you are now the program director. Sophia, how do you have time to do all of this?
You know, I would have to say it's all about God giving me the energy and so forth, because it's just like when I was a single parent raising two kids. Like I had both of them on my hips at the same time, and I didn't know how I was getting everything done. But Step Forward Academy is a nonprofit that we just founded it. Our founder founded it July 1st. And it is to help people develop their career through mentoring to become self-sufficient. So many of our low-income marginalized individuals go through a program and learn about life skills and get a job, but it's just a job. And living here in Orange County, you can't have just a job. Living wage is somewhere around $25 to $33 an hour. And that's able to live here, right? So we have set up a program director. What does that look like? Like, I know I'm a salesperson, so I don't do good raising money, and I don't know what a program manager does or director does. So I just reached out to a lot of my nonprofit friends and said, hey, tell me what I should do. So talk about being mentored. So now I'm being mentored on how to run this nonprofit, and I have a lot of great mentors, like from Working Wardrobes and Women Helping Women and Miracles for Kids. And so we're really tapping into partnering with people that are already doing it and doing it well.
I read a quote this morning and it made me think of you and actually this topic, and it said, it's actually a Chinese proverb, and it says, if you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody.
Yeah. I have to, that really means a lot, because it's not until we start helping others that I think we see how blessed we are. Even if it doesn't have anything to do with money, it's our time, and it's just our ambition to do it. Okay. And so when I think back to when I was in my 20s, I mean, I just was always helping people, and sometimes it worked out great, and sometimes I was too trusting. It didn't work out so great, but I think in the end, that's what God wants. And I think if everybody did just a little bit of that every day, it'd be a much better world. They should listen to me, right?
A lot of people do listen to you. So, I love what Christy said. Being authentic and genuine and real, that's what well, you both exceed, and those qualities are critical for great mentors and leaders to have.
That was Chris Butcher said that?
Yes, I love Chris. Gosh.
Isn't he the best?
You know, and we go back, so you talk about a mentor, right? And I look at you, it's a person of influence. And it really helps influence other people to play bigger in their life. And when I say, you gave me a different view on networking, a different view on relationship, because it was all about the relationship. From the point where Chris was, and I just remember Chris's openness in the heart, and yet there's this fun, right? And he ends up opening a door for you, but it went back and forth. We open doors for each other. And there are times that we're the mentor, and sometimes we're the other person's the mentor.
Right,
and
right.
A season in life. So how would you encourage someone to step in to a mentorship role? Because there are people who are hungry and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, where do they start?
Well, they can sign up for my program and be a mentor in my program. Or I don't know, that's a hard one. I think it's just something inside. Like when I first met Chris Butcher, was one of the first people that I met at the chamber, and he was selling telephones and I was selling office furniture. So we made the perfect strategic partner, and we got to know each other, and we got to know each other's families, and we got to know each other's kids and grandkids, and we would do all this networking together. And if he heard about a customer looking for office furniture, he'd think of me. And if I found somebody need telephones, I'd think of him. So, but he was a great mentor when I first joined the chamber about the leads group, because he was chair of the leads group that I was going to. And so I learned a lot from him for that part of it all. But then he also took your leadership foundation class. And after he finished that, he suggested that I take it. And I remember him telling me some of the stuff you guys would do on that leadership class. I said, there's no way. I am not doing that. I am not doing that. But it was really good. So going back to mentoring, that you have to stretch yourself. You just have to get out there and do it. And I would say that you pray about it to find the right person, but it would just organically happen. Now there's the difference. We have a lot of life coaches out there now. We have a lot of business coaches out there now. And I think that's even different than mentoring, because that's more like a curriculum, steps that you have to go through. Whereas mentoring is more organic, and you just see the person on a regular basis. You get to know them, you get to trust them. And then of course you like them. And that's kind of our motto at the Irvine Chamber. Like and trust somebody, then you're going to give them leads and referrals and tell all your friends and family about what a great job they do, and then your business will flourish. Yeah. So anybody can be a mentor. I really think they can. Sometimes that label is just scary.
It is.
Yeah.
I think of it as the power of yes, right? So an opportunity presents itself. We don't know what to do, but an opportunity presents itself and we say yes. We might not feel ready. Our heart might be pounding. We might am I to be even qualified for this? But you say yes, you lean in, and all of a sudden the doors open, the right people come, you get taught by somebody else. There's this influence, there's this organic thing that happens when you start to look for it, and the power of yes, it shows up.
It does, yeah.
What were some of your yeses that scared the heck out of you?
I think, well, the most recent was when I was asked by the founder of Step Forward Academy to be the program director. I was like all on board about the program. Sounds great. Yes, I'll give you money. But then when he said, will you be my program director? I was like, what does that look like? But then also, I would say another time was when Shelley Jetskowitz, who is the community life pastor at Mariners, first asked me to lead a rooted group with her. So I never really had known a pastor very well, and I didn't know if I could act right in front of a pastor. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like, I am super fun. It's like
Fun. She drinks.
my middle name. And I was like, can a pastor have fun? I mean, I don't know. You know, like everybody knows I love to drink tequila. I sip it with ice, like a fine wine. But what is she going to think if she hears, you know? I mean, it's like, it was scary. But she said she saw it in me, and she wanted to train me to be a rooted facilitator. And then once that happened, she asked me to move into life groups. It was pretty easy. But
we want to learn from people, like Chris was saying, who are authentic, like people who are real. We want to come alongside people who, man, they get us. They've walked in our shoes. Because when someone is so perfect, it's like, how do we ever match up? There's a disconnect. But when people, we go, they get us. If they can do that, if they can get to where they just went to, how do I get there? And they're willing to help me come alongside and teach me. Yeah. That's truly it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people see it in us way before we do. Like recently, Chris Butcher gave me a compliment saying that he saw it in me early on. And a lot of times, you know, there's just things that happen in your life that, you know, slash that self-confidence by 30%, you know, that just makes you wonder, what was I thinking, you know? And then you just get back on track and something changes, and maybe it's that stepping out of your comfort zone that really makes a difference. But a lot of times you have to push yourself, and you have to say yes when you're not ready.
Well, and I love what you just said, what was I thinking? But the word that comes to my mind is, what was I learning? Because
that's true.
Mistakes, right? So, okay.
Absolutely.
Learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who are some of the mentors that truly taught you?
So I had this lady friend back in Dallas. Her name is Betty Williams. I wish I was still in touch with her. That really made me feel like I could be a great salesperson in the office furniture business. The company I worked for before her company worked for a man that was kind of narcissistic and didn't think women knew anything and couldn't be great salespeople. And so I left his office, his company, and went to work for Betty. And she was just all about, yes, you can do it, whether you're male or female. If you want it, you can do it. And so that was probably one of my first. And then once I moved here, after leaving like my whole life in Dallas, I was searching for a mentor here. And I would have to say that you were a big mentor to me. I mean, when you reminded me of our meeting at Starbucks, I really had no idea why God brought me to OC. I thought it was to be with my granddaughter, but obviously not, because she moved back to Dallas in 2017. But where was I going with that?
Mentors.
So anyway, mentoring, yes. So I have no idea where I was going with that, and I'm being very real right now. So, like, you know, I'm in my 60s and I have these senior moments. So yeah, I don't remember.
No, but there are people in our life.
Oh, my mentors. Yes, you were my mentor. And I went through your program twice, and then I facilitated, and all of that helped me so much. I remember calling you and crying in my car in a parking lot and calling you about how I can be a better mom and what I should do about my girls. And I mean, it was just like, no matter what I needed to talk about, you were there for me. So if you haven't taken Mary's class, you need to sign up for Mary's class. But Kim Sherman was also a great mentor. I don't know if you remember her, but she worked at the chamber, and she was a really great mentor for me.
You know, the interesting thing that you said, well, and I'm honored. And it's crazy because I literally went back and I remember, I'm emotional. I remember going, why am I here? Like, what do I have to offer? Because so many times when we're in a life of transition and people that we look at as our mentors, we don't even know what's truly going on in their life. But it is the power of yes. And I remember being confused and I remember going, what do I have to offer? But I remember going into our first meeting saying, I'm just open. I just want to be used. I just want to be whatever I can do to help you. And that's became my mantra. And I just, and in that, I remember feeling just filled up by the time I walked away from you. But often when we're mentoring people, we don't even realize or recognizing that we are truly being a mentor, a person of influence for someone.
Yeah.
And it's, so it is the yes moments. Because in those yes moments, there's so much more, life is so much more than us.
Absolutely.
It's this ripple effect.
It is a ripple effect. And like when I look at Amanda, I'm mentoring her, but she is also, she's living in a transitional housing home with about 15 other women that have, a lot of them have children. She has become the mentor of the house. Single women. And if I hear of somebody being really down or, you know, didn't do well at their job and they're really beating themselves up, I can call Amanda because they're like the same age and ask her to go in and visit with that woman to help them. So it's definitely a ripple effect. And just think about, you know, how Chris pulled me into the leads groups and then pulled me into your company and just down the line, and we've still stayed friends. So it's not, I love it that I think I'm really good at building relationships and keeping the relationships, because there's times when we don't have a lot of time, and I mean, we always don't have a lot of time, but it's like there's certain things that are important to you, so you have to make time for those. And the relationships that I built at the Irvine Chamber are like my family, because I don't have family out here, and I didn't until I got married in 2017. But the relationships that you build can be your joy. Yeah, they are my joy, and I work hard at maintaining them. And I still have friends back home that I stay in touch with. And of course, social media makes that a whole lot easier than it used to be. So I make use of that.
Well, I'm going to open it up. If anyone has questions for Sophia, put them in the Q&A, and I will definitely ask them and she'll answer them to the best of her ability. So what's your next step? What is the legacy? Because you give and 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 you give. So first and foremost, what's the legacy that you want to leave? And do you have a next step?
The legacy that I want to leave, well, I guess a lot of it is the chamber, because I spent 9 years there, working with people, building groups, and forming relationships that had just been like a gold mine to me and very precious to me. And I've been able to tap into a lot of those relationships to help me with this new nonprofit Step Forward. And so I guess that is my next chapter. So, because we've only been open like 3 or 4 months now, probably do that for another couple of years. And then by that time, I think my husband will be retired, and we'd love to do something together that would be totally outside our comfort zone, and maybe, I don't know, have our own tequila brand. Or I told him the other day, this would be a great time to own a drive-in movie theater, right? Because we can't go to the show. So, you know, I think probably next time it'll be just something fun, to add fun to everybody's life. That's what I'd really like to see. And I think if if anybody was going to put anything on a headstone for me, it would have to include the word fun, because I truly feel like if you're not having fun, you should change it and make it fun, because you will appreciate the time a whole lot better, and everybody else will too.
Chris says he has a question. I want to have Sophia's internal battery when I get to be her age. Endless energy. Well, giving yourself to others does create energy. It definitely drains you. I don't ever want to see you drained. So that's his comment. So what do you do to fill up? Because
Well,
give. How do you fill up?
I remember when I first started dating my husband, he felt the same way. He was like, you've got to be like the Energizer battery, or bunny, the Energizer bunny. And I was like, yeah, but I do calm down and run out of energy. And a lot of people don't see that because they don't live with me. But now my husband has seen it, and it surprises him at times. But I do have to at times just be by myself, and like, I'm not one of those people that likes to exercise or take walks. I prefer to just sit and relax and listen to music, read a good book, read my Bible. Right before we came on, I did some floor exercises to relax and did a lot of prayer. But I don't know, God just gives me that energy, and I wake up the next day knowing what I'm supposed to do. And the pandemic was very hard for me at the very beginning because I couldn't see my people. I'm a hugger. I'm a kisser on the cheek. I just love to touch people, and none of our groups could meet. And it was a while before the chamber went to Zooming for their leads groups, because we all thought it was going to be over so quickly. But yeah, it's totally changed everything. And that's been hard for me, because I really like getting out and meeting people and getting to know them and so forth. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you are the people person. Like, you are the people. Like,
I get energy off of them. Yeah, I really do get energy off of being with them. But for me, Zoom is just as good, and it's almost even better because you can't see like the whole body that's gained the 20 pounds over COVID, right? Just the face that's got a couple pounds in it.
I love you. Oh. Okay, so as we get ready to end this, last words, Sophia, for people, and this is your soapbox, and especially tied around giving, connecting. What do you want people to know?
I think I want people to know, first and foremost, that they can create their own joy and happiness, but they can't do it alone. You have to have support, whether it's a spouse or just a bunch of good girlfriends or a guy friend that you go play golf with. Those are all like our mentors, and everybody needs somebody. Isn't that a song or something? But you cannot do it alone. And if you have God, you're not alone. But God wants us to have physical touch and relationships with people here on earth. So that's our first calling. And you have to work at relationships, just like you have to work at building your business. It's hard work staying in touch with a lot of people, or going to networking evening events like we used to do. So it doesn't come easy, but it is so worth it. I have more friends here in OC than I ever did in Dallas. The people of California are fabulous.
The lives that you have touched, I know you have no idea just the magnitude of the lives that you've touched.
Thank you.
It all became with your willingness to say yes. It became because of the fact that you said, I'm going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to move. So it's that action, right? It's like, what the heck am I doing? Starting fresh at 55 years old and leaning in. And because of that, Sophia, the lives that you touch, the people that get to sit under you are so much better because you've walked in their shoes. You're willing to do the hard work. And I am so honored to know you. And when you said yes to me, I was like, what do you mean you haven't been on one of these yet? Like, who would have, like, you're the person immediately when I think of a mentor, of a connector, of someone, you're it. Like, you're the icon, and so much to learn from you. And you never stop.
Well, thank you for saying that.
You.
It makes me feel special.
I enjoy you. Well, I just want to thank everyone for being on here. And Sophia, thank you again so much. I value our friendship. I value
me too.
Who you are. And it's been so good to connect this way.
Thank you so much for having me. Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Have a great rest of your week, everyone. And we will see you back
Bye-bye.
next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.